Alright, I haven't made a video in like almost 2 weeks. I just have been kind of busy playing other classes and not really like having any motivation to really make anything, which is not because of the game, it's just because of me. But I'm making this short video now to showcase this RPG build that I run for Arms Warrior and Rated BGs that is pretty much guaranteed to have you do top damage about 85% of your games, and will probably get you invited back into more of your games, to be honest with you. Um, and I wanted to get this out before the 24th when the new patch comes out on Tuesday, which we're going to be even better on Tuesday, which I'll be able to make more videos on that, and I'm looking forward to that. But right now I want to talk about rated battlegrounds because some people have been asking me what do I run for rated battlegrounds as a warrior, and I'm here to tell you. I run Blood and Thunder with Rend and Fatal Mark with Unhinged. Again, not much has changed, of course, with this build. As an arms warrior, your only purpose is to literally exist and do damage and secure kills in an RBG. And the build that I have here will help you do that very easily. I have never had an issue ever doing damage as an arms warrior in rated BGs because there's 3 healers there. You're able to exist and do as much damage as possible without ever having to be scared to go into D-stance. And this is a really big deal, unlike arenas, of course, where you're just going to get tunneled and you kind of just die, of course, until, next week on the 24th. But in RBGs, you get to do a lot of damage and you get to exist, right? So the whole point of the build is to just make sure you have rend uptime on every target possible. And I will explain shortly what you want to do rotationally. Again, it's not much different, but for this build, you want Thunderclap, Blood and Thunder, and Rend, and then you want Fatal Mark with Unhinged. Stormbolt, again, you don't really need it. It's not necessarily your job to stun things or stun kill targets. Usually, if you're playing with any RBG comp, they're going to be running a Ret Paladin, of course, until they get nerfed, or a Demon Hunter, or a DK, things like that that have a slightly longer stun or more control than Stormbolt, and you just don't really need it that much. I never use it. I use just more damage. More damage is just always free, of course. Um, and, Piercing Howl, use it off cooldown on big groups of people. Keep everyone controlled, snared, all that. And just make sure you always have Thunderclap in your rotation, like off cooldown. And make sure it is always applying Rend. And, and just do top damage. Now, as for rotation, this is critically important because Slam is like not a viable filler. It never really is. You kind of just use it like if you have nothing else to use. If you're not getting any Mortal Strike resets or Overpower resets, that's pretty much like what you use. And in this scenario, you'll be using Thunderclap, so you want to keep Rend up the entire time. It'll help you do more damage. Now for Overpower and Mortal Strike rotations with Sweeping Strikes. In RBGs, it is insanely important that you always have Sweeping Strikes up for every single one of your Blade Storms. Because it turns the Unhinged modifier from 2 Mortal Strikes into 4. Mortal Strike is buffed by Sweeping Strikes while in Blade Storm, and it dishes out 2 every global cooldown, I believe, in Blade Storm, right? So that'll total for 4 Mortal Strikes per Blade Storm, and you have 2 of them with Blade Master's Torment, and it dishes out 8 Mortal Strikes, right? This is a very big deal, especially with Fatal Mark, because you're applying these debuffs in the team fight that's existing for a long period of time. A lot of people are going to be full HP, so it gives you this chance to apply Fatal Mark to all these other these targets, right? Which gives you potential to wipe them faster later when they hit that execute range at 35%. Honestly, that's really about it. Just make sure you have your big overpowers up before you do anything with Bladestorm. And of course, never use Sharpened Blade before you Bladestorm. You can, it's not ideal because the Mortal Strike modifier for Bladestorm hits any random target. Chances are it's never going to hit your main target, so don't blow Sharpened Blade into your Blade Storm. There's absolutely no reason for it unless like it is a very specific situation where you are able to do that, but that is usually never the case. So don't do that. You want to keep it on one target, which is your kill target, and that's about it. The Unhinged modifier, people would be questioning, oh well, why is that so strong? Why do people run that? It's not strong into a lot of targets, especially pets, which I've covered in my last video. Running unhinged into like arenas where like Windwalkers exist, Unholy DKs exist, Demo Locks exist is not. It doesn't feel good. It feels terrible, right? In this scenario, it's okay because the more things you're hitting with Mortal Strike applies Fatal Mark, which everyone is going to eventually die in the team fight in a rated battleground. That's pretty much the whole point, right? So having 8 Mortal Strikes coming out on your Blade Storms is a pretty big deal. But that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. It's very simple, straightforward, very easy. Make sure your Thunderclap is always up with Ren. Make sure it's always on your target. Keep the uptime up as long as possible. And again, big overpowers before you do your Blade Storm. Always have Sweeping Strikes up before your Blade Storm. And always run Storm of Destruction when you're running this build, because it applies Mortal Strike, the actual healing debuff itself, not the ability, but the healing debuff itself to everyone that you were hitting in Blade Storm, which is a very big deal, to have a, like, raid-wide ability to reduce healing effectiveness. And that's pretty much it. That's the build. It's really straightforward and simple, and I wanted to get it out before the 24th, before I eventually probably make a new build as to why this one is obsolete, or why any of the other builds I have made is obsolete. But I don't think it will be, but we'll see on Tuesday. A lot more content to come out, a lot more videos to make. But yeah, that's what I wanted to cover. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helps you, and good luck in your rated battleground queues. I thoroughly enjoy them, and this build will guarantee you to crank top damage in RBGs. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video.